Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Morning Market Review, right? It's wonderful having you guys here again. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday and I trust we rested well, right? For those that were not able to take a break during this holiday, I'm so sorry, but I think the weekend is already at hand and you should be able to rest for this weekend. Well, while we're looking at taking a rest this weekend, Friday is still here and we could still make a little bit of money before the week runs out. And that's what we are looking to do today, right? So, um, I tell people every time you wake up or when you wake up as a trader, just like you wake up every day and you say your daily prayers and do your chores, first thing you need to do is to do your chores regarding the market, which is to check out for fundamentals coming out for today and do your proper technical analysis to determine what trades you're actually going to be picking for the day and also to determine of course, your profits for the day, right? So we're quickly going to be looking at first the fundamentals coming out today, and then next we'll be looking at technical analysis on some of the charts, right? So let's quickly go straight to forestfactory.com. Okay, so I'm so sorry for that delay. I think my network just went off and IT was just trying to work on it. All right, so like I was saying, first thing you need to do before taking trades for the day, you first need to look at Forest Factory to determine fundamentals you'll be having for the day. At least to a large extent, that will determine what trades you'll be looking into. So that being said, let's quickly dive into Forest Factory. Right, let's quickly dive into Forest Factory. So I'm going to be sharing my screen shortly. Okay, so okay, can you all see my screen now? Let me get a yes in this in the chat session. If you can see my screen, let me get a yes. Right? Okay, I believe my screen is up now. So if you can see my screen, let me just get the yes. So while looking at Forest Factory, what I usually filter for is my high impact and medium impact news, right? So I just do my filter for high impact and medium impact news. So I come here to filter. I take out this, and I just do my filter for high impact and then medium impact news. So today being the 30th of June, we have a couple of news that came out early hours of the morning. We had on the JPY, we had the Tokyo Core CPI. So we had a CPI for the Japanese session, right? You have a CPI for the this thing. We have a CPI for Japan, and then we have manufacturing PMI for for the Chinese region, and then non-manufacturing PMI, which came out negative. So if you notice, what you'd see on the JPY is decline in price on mostly the JPY. So pairs like USD JPY, GBP JPY, you see it go against the JPY on such a chart. But by 10 a.m., we are expecting news on the Eurozone. We are expecting cost, that's a CPI and CPI flash estimates that'll be coming out by 10 a.m. and then we have core CPI flash estimates coming out by 10 a.m. Then by 1:30 we have GDP news coming up on card. We also have core PCE coming out on the USD. Then by 3 we have news on the USD, that's revised UOM, that's consumer sentiment, right? We have consumer sentiment, and then would be rounding it up by 3:30, where we have the Bank of Canada Business Outlook Survey, right? Bank of Canada Business Outlook Survey. So those are the high impact and medium impact things we'll be expecting for today. So most likely you'll be getting more volatility on the euro, you get volatility on card, you get volatility on USD, and yes, euro, card, and the USD. Those are where you'd be expecting volatilities for today, right? Those are where you'll be expecting volatility for today. So let's quickly just dive into the chart. Right, let's quickly just dive into the chart. I'm going to be taking out all of this. So we have, okay, so first instrument we'll be looking out for, we have, like I said, we're expecting good volatility on USD and also Euro. So I would also be looking at taking trade on the USD, right? So a lot of us use support and resistance templates, but over time, I think I prefer trading with just ordinary candlestick templates. So as you grow as a trader, you are able to spot key areas of support and resistance without any template, right? Without any template. So I just prefer using my naked chart to do my analysis. So, and you could tell that at this point in time, price is actually currently being supported here, right? Price is actually being supported here. So, okay, let me share my MT4. I think a lot of persons. Okay, so, like I was saying, over time, right, as you grow as a trader, you're able to spot key areas of support and resistance, right? So currently, if you look at this, price is actually being supported at this region. So this is a very good support point on Euro USD. And because we are expecting news on both the Euro and the USD, right? Trading Euro USD might be a little bit dicey because you get in a scenario where you get both news come out positive, what you might be having for the rest of the day is a ranging market, right? What you might be having for the rest of the day is a ranging market, and it's not something you would actually be making profit from. So the only time you would actually be making profit on Euro USD for today is if one of the news comes out negative for one currency and the other one comes out positive for one currency, right? If you have them come out both negative, you might also have a ranging market. So one has to come out positive, one has to come out negative. So it's more like you are playing a game of gamble, okay? Because which one will come out positive, which one will come out negative, and then you're gambling your way in the market. Same thing with USD CAD, because we are expecting volatility on both of them, right? You don't want to gamble your way to say, okay, this will come out positive, this will come out negative. So best you just pair, right? I say it's best you're pairing currencies where you are expecting high impact news or medium impact news against currencies that might be quiet for the day. You understand? So if I'm expecting volatility on USD, right, I'm pairing it against another currency that doesn't have that most likely will not be getting volatility for the day. And that way you're able to get clear-cutted direction of the market and you're able to make better profits on your trades, right? So the likes of Euro USD and the likes of the AUD USD CAD is something we'll be staying off. Right, we're not going to be taking those trades. So let's look at other instruments that has the USD, that has the CAD, and that also has the euro in it. So let's look at the first instrument for today. The first instrument we'll be looking at is AUD CAD, right? AUD CAD, we're not expecting volatility on AUD, right? So, and of course, we're expecting volatility CAD. We're expecting volatility on CAD. So, already you could see that for AUD CAD, we've actually had price being rejected at the resistance points now, right? We've had price being rejected at the resistance points, and I feel that rejection should hold water, right? Pushing price down. So for AUD CAD, if you see the candlestick formation at this point here is telling you that a sell move is about to play out in the market, at least down to this support zone here. Right, the sell should play down to this support zone here. So I most likely will be going in for a sell, right? You could do an instant sell, but let's look closely at this. Let's look closely at this. You could see that there is actually another support zone here. There's actually another support zone. If you're looking at back to the 26th of June, right? Somewhat around the 26th of June, price actually was rejected at this support zone several times. So I most likely will be going for a sell. My preference on AUD CAD is a sell. Once price is able to break below this support, right? So one mistake that a lot of traders make is they just look at what the chart is doing currently and maybe a day before, right? You also need to go back and check. Okay, because if you didn't do that, you wouldn't have noted that there was a support zone here and you would have taken an instant sell blindly, right? Entering that would have maybe resulted in price getting here and being rejected. But I don't see that rejection actually happening today because AUD might be quiet and then we are having more volatility on CAD. At least sentiment around the CAD should push price further down in favor of the Canadian dollar, then depending on when the news now comes out to give a clear-cut direction as to where price is going. But technically speaking, this market should actually sell, right? This market should sell. So I'll be going in for a sell once price is able to break below this point at price level 0.87725. Once price is able to break below that point, you could. So I tell people, you're not taking that because this point now is a support zone. So you're not taking your sell on that support. You're taking it below. So any points below this support, you could go in for your sell, right? In between this region, this is your sell region. So I think I'm on MT4 here. Let me do well to mark those points. So I have my shapes. So all these points is your sell zone, right? This is your sell zone for AUD CAD. So my preference on AUD CAD is actually a sell. So you sell below here. So, and if it comes out positive for the CAD, of course, you should still expect for that decline in price, right? You should still expect for that decline in price. So if I'm going to on a 4-hour time frame, you could also see that price has gotten to this is the lowest point that price has gotten to in a while. Let's go to a daily time frame to see if there is another support below that point. Let's shrink out a little. Yes, of course, there is another support below that point, which is way down below here. Okay, that's at price level 0.86941. Right, if I'm going to go back to a 1-hour time frame, so that point will serve as my next take profit point. So these points will serve. So if price is able to break below here, and it of course price breaks below here, it gets to this support zone, and I take my profit, just waiting for the impact of the news. If it comes out positive for the AUD, of course you should see price further decline from there, heading towards the next support at 0.86941. Right, so overall preference on AUD card is actually a sell. Right, so let's look at another instrument. So we'll be looking at, we're expecting volatility on CAD. So let's look at CAD CHF. Okay, so for CAD CHF also, you could see that because I was saying yesterday, if you had joined yesterday's class, on most of the instruments that is linked to the Asian session, right? Early hours of the morning, there's always this little bit of strength that they get, right? Because that's their own opening trading session, right? That's the open of their own trading session. So early hours of the morning, you might get like an instrument like CAD CHF, you might get a little bit of decline at the early hours of the morning, and it's more like a constant. So if you wake up very early, let's say somewhat around 2, around 1, 2, if you up around that time, you could trade the CAD and the JPY comfortably, right? Taking advantage of the market opening, just like you have the US 230 spike, right? A lot of persons trade the US 230 spike. There's also a thing as the Tokyo is it 2 a.m. spike also, because that their opening time is around 2 a.m. So around that time you get that little bit of a push up, right? Around that time you get that little bit of a push up. So if you're getting if you're following that, you could see that at this point here you had that decline, right? Also early hours of the morning, yeah. Though this actually ended on a ranging market, but if you checked this day, you had that decline also, right? It doesn't always play out, but in most cases, when you look at it, you should have that decline as a little bit of as a result of the strength in the opening of the market, right? On both AUD and on both JPY rather and CHF, right? But for today, right, I still expect that despite the fact that the market looks to be selling, but it has actually gotten to a support zone here, right? It has actually gotten to a support zone here. So price has actually tested this zone how many times? Several times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it's once served as a resistance point here, and now it's serving as a support. So, but I expect that price should actually get a rebound from this place. Price should be rejected here, pushing price upward. And of course, we have this very, very special candlestick, right? We have this as a long leg doji, right? And if this candle that is forming now closes as a bullish candle, of course, that's a formation for a buy, right? And in addition to the fact that we're expecting fundamental on CAD, right? So I'd most likely be sticking out my neck for a buy on an instrument like CAD CHF. I'll be looking out for a buy on CAD CHF, right? So you might want to go in on for an instant market execution down to this resistance point at the top, right? So an instant buy down to the resistance at the top, and if price is able to break above that resistance, depending on the effect of the news, of course you'll be riding that wave down to the next resistance at the top here, right? So this should be roughly around, if you're taking an instant buy now, right? If you're taking an instant buy now, you should be having roughly around 12 pip, right? Don't forget this is currency pair, so the profit in pip might be actually very small. The profit in pip might be actually very small. But so for you to take advantage of such a trade, you have to use reasonable amount of lot size. But in as much as you're trying to use good lot size to take advantage of the trade, you also should ensure that you take lot size proportional to your accounts, right? You also should ensure taking lot size proportional to your account, right? So that's that for CAD CHF. Let's also look at another CAD instrument before we go into Euro and then the USD. So the last CAD instrument we'll be looking out for is CAD JPY. We'll be looking at CAD JPY. We'll be looking at CAD JPY. So for CAD JPY, let's see. So currently we have CAD JPY also around the support zone, right? We have CAD JPY currently around the support zone. You could see that price was, though CAD JPY has actually been ranging for a while. We had a little bit of a breakout yesterday. Let me put my period separator. So we had a little bit of a breakout. CAD JPY was ranging in between these price levels here that I marked out. So in between year and year, it's ranging between there for 2 days. Then we had these breakouts, right? As soon as price was able to break out, instead of pushing upward, it was being resisted at this point here, which brought it back to this support zone to retest here, right? So it ranged day before yesterday, it ranged yesterday, then finally it got a breakout. Then after that breakout, it pushed up to this resistance point, and then it came back to test this support. So I'm still expecting a buy on this particular instrument also. I'm still expecting a buy on this particular instrument also. And same as the CAD CHF, I'm also expecting that you're going for an instant execution. You're going for an instant buy down to this resistance at the top. So if you're going for an instant buy, your target should be the next resistance at 109.491. 109.491, right? So that will be my next my take profit point. And should the news come out positive, what you'll be expecting is that price would actually break this resistance point, because price is actually heading to test that point again. So price is heading to test that point again, and if volatility on from the news goes in favor of CAD, then most likely you get a complete breakout from this region also going to the next point. So the next point, if you're looking at it on a okay, so CAD JPY has gotten to the highest point in a while. Let's see if we'll get another resistance again. Yes, so there's another resistance again on a daily time frame. I had to go to a daily time frame to find that. So you could see that there's another resistance point somewhere around here, right? So that will be my second take profit as at when the news actually comes out. So you could see this that. So if I'm entering an instant execution now, I'm going in for a buy now. I'm taking my profits here. After taking my profits here, I just need to relax for the effect of the news to come out. And then when the news comes out, if it comes out positive for the card, what you'll be expecting is price break above here. So I'll be going in for another buy once price is able to break above 109.491, right? And then take my profit at price level 110.054. Right, so that's my my take on CAD JPY for today, right? So my preference is actually going to be a buy, right? So let's look at Euro pair. Let's look at Euro pair before looking at USD pair and then stocks and commodities, right? So let's look at Euro pair. Let's look at Euro AUD. Like I said, we're not expecting any fundamental news on the AUD. So let's pair Euro with the AUD, which we're not expecting any fundamental news on. So for Euro AUD, you could actually see that sentiment has actually been has started playing out. Looking at it, we're supposed to be getting more of a bearish market on this. So let's look at currency strength meter to get a good outlook as to what currency is strong and their level of ranking in the market at this point in time. So let's quickly go back to currency strength meter. So currency strength meter. So there is lifecharts.co.uk. You could use this, or you could use the one from Baby Pips, right? You could use the currency strength meter from Baby Pips. So while that is loading up, let's check the one from Baby Pips also. So currently, I think the strongest currency here is the GBP, right? Then followed by AUD, followed by USD, Euro. But I think because we still have fundamental news coming out on the AUD and the Euro, and currently CAD is actually the weakest, but we have fundamental news coming up. So there is every possibility that within the day, these stats should change. So I prefer using the one from Baby Pips, because that one gives you a better this thing. It gives you an overall outlook of the currency strength on different time frame, right? On different time frame. So let's look at this. So this is the currency strength meter on Baby Pips. You could see that currently the NZD is actually the strongest currency now, right? Followed by the GBP, then we have the AUD, right? We have CHF, we have USD. So the one I showed before was based on an hourly time frame, but this one is based on a daily time frame. I think this one gives a more accurate figure. If you're going to let's say a 1 hour time frame, you discover that the stats will change. So the GBP being the strongest, JPY being the weakest, AUD comes down, then others are just a little bit flat, right? But of course, we want to get an overall view of the whole of the market for the whole day to determine what instrument is going to do what in the market. So I'm looking at, so since we're looking at news coming out on the euro, so we should expect that volatility should pick up on the euro, and this start should change, right? So CAD is still the weakest, like we saw on the other chart. CAD is still the weakest, but this would not. I don't think this will stay for so long. I don't think CAD will stay weak for so long, right? So let's go back to the MT4. I think that's why you currently have okay. Also on euro, let's look at. Okay, so for euro too, euro is also weak. So I think that's why you're having this sell on euro at the moment. But like I said, these stats are bound to change as soon as those fundamentals start kicking in. And you could also see technically that price is actually on a support zone, right? You could see technically that price is on a support zone. So that means that most likely we are going to be getting more of a rejection from this point, right? We are most likely going to be getting a rejection from this point. And for the fact that we are having fundamentals coming up on the euro, I still will be sticking out my neck for a buy on this particular instrument. At least I'll be sticking out my neck for a buy on this particular instrument. And I'll be taking my buy as soon as price is able to break above price level 1.64052. Once price is able to break above that point, I take a buy from that point down to, and if you notice, there are some sort of, there's roughly about 2 resistance to the major one, right? We have this we have this resistance, and then we have a major one at around this point, right? So I'd going for a buy as soon as price is able to break above here, targeting this as my first take profit at price level 1.64652, right? So those take profit levels are not, you're not expected to put your take profit on that particular level, because those are rejection points. So you're expecting to put your take profit before the rejection point, so that price hits your take profit and you're out of the market if any rejection is to happen thereafter, right? You're already out of the market. So if I'm going to be taking this trade, of course I'll be taking my trade if price trades above here. So I'll give it a few pip, taking my trade, my buy somewhere around here, targeting, maybe I could target from my entry points, let's say somewhat around here, my entry points down to this point as my take profit. That'll be giving me roughly about 36 pip, right? I don't have to travel all the way to the resistance on itself, right? I just need to put my take profit few pips before the resistance, so that it ensures that price hits my take profit before another rejection happens at that zone, right? So, and of course, if volatility picks up on the euro, I should expect that price would also break this point, because you could see that this resistance, right? If price is able to, if volatility picks up in favor of the euro, I should expect that price would also break this resistance, pushing all the way up, right? Pushing all the way to this next distance. So my preference on euro AUD is also a buy, right? But if in the case of a ton of events, right, you could just use this point as your stop loss. You could use this point as your stop loss. In the case of a ton of events, you could use this point as a stop loss as price level 163,780. Right, you could use this point as your stop loss, and then like a ton of events, if price hits your stop loss, of course, price is most likely going to fall down to this support zone here. So you can now decide to go in for a sell. But my preference this morning is actually a buy. Right. So let's look at another euro pair. Let's look at another euro pair. So we have volatility coming out on CAD, so we won't be using euro CAD. Let's look at euro CHF. Let's look at euro CHF. Open chart window. So for euro CHF, currently we have what we call a ranging market, and ranging markets are actually very, very easy to analyze, right? Because the best strategy to trade a range market is a breakout, right? It's best you just wait for breakout rather than trying to trade in between, especially when you're trading on a currency pair. If you're trading on indices, you could decide to go to a smaller time frame and trade in between, right? You could decide to go to a smaller time frame and trade in between. But for currency pair, I can assure you it might not worth your efforts, right? If you're trying to do that. So the best strategy would be to trade the breakout. So if price breaks out, I'm expecting price to break out towards the bullish position, right? I'm expecting a bullish breakout on this particular instrument because, like I said, we have a fundamental coming out around the euro, and of course sentiment should push the euro depending on when the news comes out. But if the sentiment is not strong enough, what you might be getting is a ranging market depending on when the news comes out to now give this chart a clear direction. So to whatever position the news will be pushing this chart to, you'd most likely would want to trade in between here. So I'll be going for a breakout if price is able to break above here. Right, so I just need to set this in order a bit. Yeah, so if price is able to break above here, I go in for a buy above price level 0.97779 at price level 0.97779. If price is able to break above that point, you take in your buy, then down to the next resistance at the top here, right? Of course, you're not supposed to put your entries on those resistance and you're not supposed to put your entries on the resistance or support point. You look for few pips after that, right? So if it breaks above, you could comfortably go in for a buy down to the next resistance at the top, right? So and then if the breakout goes in favor of the bearish market, of course you want to go in for a sell if price breaks below this point here. So if price breaks below here, right? If price breaks below here, you're going for a sell at price level 0.97582, right? Price breaks below there, it's of course it will ride away all to this support zone. So you want to take your profit before that support zone. But still, like the Euro AUD, I still expect a bullish market on Euro CHF. I still expect a bullish market on Euro CHF, considering the fact that price is being rejected at the support here, right? But to be safe, you'd want to go in for that buy above this point so that you don't get found wanting in the market, right? So that's for Euro CHF. Let's look at the last Euro pair before we go into USD pairs. Right, so we're looking at the last euro pair. Let's look at euro GBP. Currently, the GBP is actually the strongest on in the currency market now. Right, the GBP is actually the strongest in the currency market, according to what we checked from the currency strength meter. Right, so that's why you have this long bearish move. That's why you have this long bearish candle. GBP is actually the strongest and euro is one of the weakest. That's why you have this long bearish move in the market. But I don't think this bearish move would still continue to hold water, considering the fact that price is actually being rested on a support zone, right? Considering the fact that price is being rested at a support zone, I don't think this bearish move will continue to hold water. So what I expect from this point is more of a rejection, right? More of a rejection. So I'd want you to just hold on for the rejection to start playing out. So this candle has to close, right? This candle has to close. And if it is not able to close below that point, then you know that rejection is in order. And then if the next candle forms and it's bullish, of course, then you should go in for a buy. Right, but what I just advise is hold on for this candle to close, and if it doesn't close below this point, then you know that a bullish market should play out, right? So I'll be putting a good a good risk zone here. So my stop loss will be somewhat around here, right? My stop loss will be somewhat around here at price level 0.85797, 0.85797. I put my stop loss just before the next support zone below this point. So anywhere in between these points can serve as your stop loss zone, right? Anywhere between this point. Let me mark that out. anywhere between these points can serve as a stop loss. So I'm expecting you could use a sell, you could use a buy limit, you could use a buy limit at around this region here, right? Because my preference for this particular instrument is actually going to be a buy. Once this reject, you could see price is actually really struggling to break below here. So if this candle closes and is not able to successfully close below this point, right? If it's not able to go into this blue region, then most likely you'll be getting a buy. Then my take profit point for the buy, I'll be targeting my first take profit at somewhere around here, right? So that's my first resistance, right? I'll be targeting my first take profit somewhere around there, price level 0.86097. So somewhere around there. So before you put your take profit before that point, anywhere before that point will be a good take profit point for you. And if volatility on the euro kicks up, and it kicks up very good, you have a number of options, or you could decide to keep your take profit open using a trailing stop, right? You could decide to keep your take profit using a trailing stop. So I'll be targeting this particular entry as my second take profit. So this point here, so if price is able to buy to this point, I'm most likely will be taking out my first trade and wait for price to break above this point. So once price is able to break above here, I still go in for another buy. Right? So it all depends on how much volatility we'll be getting from the news. But this particular buy should play out at least for this morning. Right, so that's all on the euro card. Let's quickly look at USD. That's all for the euro pair. Let's quickly look at some USD pair before we look at indices and then commodities. So let's go to USD pair. Let's go to USD pair. So the first one we'll be looking out for is, let's look into USD JPY. Let's look at USD JPY. Okay, please hold on. USD. Okay, so for USD JPY today, you've already started seeing sentiment around the dollar playing out, right? You could see that the USD is actually winning this market, and that might continue to play out. Price has already got into this resistance point at the top. So if you had joined this trade from the support in the last hour, you would have actually made quite a good amount of money from USD JPY, right, from this support zone. But I still expect that price should break above this resistance, right? So I'd mark this bottom point as my stop loss at price level 144, right? I mark this bottom point as my stop loss at price level 144.3 0.533. So any below that point, let's use a shape to mark that out. So let's say anywhere below here would serve as my stop loss for USD JPY, but my general preference on USD JPY will be a buy. So once price is able to break above here, so I'll be going for that buy once price is able to break above this point at so above that point to be 1.44, 1.144, rather 144.955. Once price is able to break above that point, I could go in for a clear cut buy right down to the next resistance. So if you're looking at it on a 1 hour time frame, you discover that price has gotten to a high point, the highest point that's been in a while. So let's go to a higher time frame to get more resistance point to determine a good take profit point. So we can't find that on a 1 hour. Let's check on a daily time frame. Yes, on a daily time frame, you could see that there are some other resistance at the top here. So let's have that. So all right, so we have something around here, though there was a little bit of a fake out here, and then price closed above. So this is a very good resistance point. It was once a support around the somewhat around September and October last year. It was somewhat around a support. It was a support for price, somewhat around September and October. But currently, it's serving as a resistance for price at the moment. So that would be a good next take profit for us. So if price is able to break above my price level 144.955, at going for a good buy straight up to 146.054. 146.054 are going for a good buy from that point. So my preference on USD card is a buy all through. We don't have any further. And if you check it, of course, if you're following the trend on USD JPY, you could see that it's been making consistent higher high recently. So I still expect that trend to continue. I still expect that trend to continue. So that's for USD JPY. Let's look at another USD pair. Let's look at another USD pair. Right. Let's look at NZD USD. Let's look at NZD USD. And then the last one we'll be looking at AUD USD. Right, AUD USD and NZD USD. So all right. So adding my candlestick templates. So for AUD, for NZD USD also, I think the same pattern is almost, and it's for AUD USD, for NZD USD rather, you could actually tell that you are at the beginning of that move, right? You could actually tell that you're at the beginning of that move. So it's a very, very good one, because you can easily just key into it. Price being rejected at a resistance point, right? And it's not just being rejected at the resistance point, it's rejected with a special candlestick formation, which is your inverted hammer. Yeah, right? Your inverted hammer at your support zone with your bearish confirmation candle, every indication for you to jump in for a sell. So it's a clear sell market on NZD USD, right? So your inverted hammer with your bearish confirmation candle indicates that price is actually going to push down. So there is no two argument or no two ways direction on this particular chart. You're just going to be looking out for a sell. And of course, sentiment around the dollar most likely would give the dollar more boost, since we are expecting fundamental on the dollar and no fundamental on the NZD, right? So you could go in for an instant sell now to the support at the bottom. You could go in for an instant sell now to the support at the bottom at a price level. The support at the bottom is at price level 0.60556, right? So that's for NZD USD. It's a very, very clear directional market at this point. So you could do well to key into that. So the last AUD pair, USD pair we'll be looking at is AUD USD. AUD USD. So for AUD USD, also, you also have that play out, right? Price is being rejected at a resistance point. It came with your inverted hammer, your bearish confirmation candle. The current candle forming now is bearish, right? Most likely price is actually still going to push down to this support zone, right? The news coming out is in favor of the dollar, so I most likely will be going in for a sell. That you could go in for an instant sell at this point down to the next support at price level 0.65927, right? 0.65927. So those are my preference for the currency market. So let's quickly look at US 100. Let's look at D30, and then we'll look at oil. Okay, so let's start with oil, since oil is already on the chart, right? So for oil, I tell people oil is a very, very political market, right? But it also supports technical analysis. It also supports technical analysis. I think yesterday we had oil trade tightly. So let's look at it on a 1 hour time frame. Yesterday we had oil actually trade tightly. We had both bullish and very good bullish move and very good bearish move. It traded around this verified resistance and around this verified support, right? So I still see that continue to play out. So price being at this verified resistance, I expect that price should be rejected if it is not able to break above here, right? I don't think there is any news coming out but one thing about oil is you could get an instant turn of events, because Saudi Arabia can come and cut down supply or do this. And that's why I say oil is actually very, very political. There's a lot of powers at play when it comes to the oil market. The US can come out and release inventory and all of that. So it's a very, very political market. So, but despite it being a political market, it also so, plays out technical analysis. So I still expect that this verified resistance should play out since there's no notable news on oil at the moment. So from my previous readings on oil, what we've been looking out for was cutting supply, right, which actually gave oil this boost. As at the 28th of June, we had cutting supply that hacked price up, and then we also had US trying to cap the maximum price per barrel for oil. That now dropped the price of oil. So there's been a lot of back and forth when it comes to the US, and then when it comes to some of the oil producing nations, right? They are trying to hike the price up. US is also trying to bring the price down, right? So everybody's just looking at what actually favors their own economy, right? But technically speaking, I still expect that we should look out more for a sell on this particular instrument, price trading in between my verified resistance and my verified support. So I should look out for a sell as soon as price is being rejected at this point. So most likely, I wouldn't say you should go in for an instant sell now. I'd want you to wait for that rejection to play out first. Right, I want you to wait for that rejection to play out first. So most likely you'll be going for a sell if price is able to fall below 74.48 dollar mark. So if price is able to fall below $74.48 mark, you're going for a sell down to the next verified support. So the next verified support is somewhat around 73.66. So if price is rejected at the resistance at the top here, you just patiently wait for it to break in between this region. So this will be my sell region, and of course I mark here as my stop loss. So anywhere, if price is now able to break above this my verified resistance, I could mark here as my stop loss at 75.15. I mark there as my stop loss, and then I move on. But if price is able to, if I'm seeing price being rejected since there is no notable news on oil at the moment, right? So my preference on oil is a sell, looking at it technically. So let's go to gold. Okay, so for gold also, since we are expecting high impact news on the dollar, gold being a reactive instrument to the dollar would most likely be looking at a bearish turn, right? Most likely we'll be looking at a sell move for today. So what I'm expecting is gold breaking below this support should the sentiment on the dollar keeps pushing, giving pressure, right? If the sentiment on the dollar keeps giving positive pressure, would be expecting that price would break below this support down to the next untested support. So I'll be going in for a sell on gold once price is able to break below 1902.87. Once price is able to break below that, you could see price has actually gotten very close. And I said I expect that the fundamental from USD should actually give gold the boost it needs to break below this support, pushing all the way down to this next support. So the next support is somewhat around 1894.34. So I'd be trading my sell in between this region. So my preference for gold this morning is a sell. So let's look at one stock, and then we wrap it up for the day. One stock being, let's look at US 100. Right, let's look at US 100. So for US 100, one thing about stocks is the possibility for you to actually scalp the market when it comes to US indices. When it comes to indices, it's always the possibility for you to still despite the general trend of the market, you could still scalp in both positions, right? You could still scalp in both positions. So if you're going to be taking advantage of US 100 now at this moment, you could see that US 100 does broke above a resistance point, right? It's most likely looking like it's going to close above that point. So I'd most likely will be scalping a buy instantly. Currently, I'll be going in for an instant buy. You could do a quick scalp for buy down to this resistance point at the top here, right? Once this candle is able to close above here, you could. So the clause here is the clause. Don't forget the clause here is once this candle is able to break above this resistance point, because price has poked its head out of that resistance doesn't necessarily mean that price has broken that resistance. So this candle needs to close first before you can now say price has broken above that resistance. And luckily it's on a 15 minutes time frame, so you don't have to wait so much, right? You don't have to wait so much. So the next candle will be forming at around this one open at around 10 o'clock. So the next one will be starting at around okay, so this is 10 o'clock. This our chart is 1 hour ahead. So this candle actually opened by 9 o'clock Nigerian time. So the next one will be opening by 9:15, and it's already 9:06, right? So by 9:15, you should get if this candle is able to break above, then you can now scalping for a buy down to this resistance point, right? You can keep scalping in for a buy down to this resistance point. So I think indices might continue to trade technically depending on when the news comes out, right? So I see price go push up to this resistance point, and then from this resistance point push down back to the support. So you might get something like this: price push to this resistance, and then from this resistance push back to this support. So at the top here, you might want to go in for pending orders. You might want to go in for a sell limit, right? You might want to go in for a sell limit at the top here. You might want to go in for a sell limit at the top here. So once price hits this point, it triggers your sell and starts falling all the way down. So I'm seeing price move in that direction for today. So you could key into the US 100 on both directions, just like it has done the day before yesterday and yesterday. We're looking at it on a 1 hour time frame, right? So just like it did yesterday, it came up all the way and then came down. So you could still key into that on both direction, on both the buy and the sell, right? So that's my take on the instruments we've looked at for today. So till we meet again on Monday, so let's have a wonderful weekend. Try and make some money so you could spend good money over the weekend, and please try and take care of yourself. A lot of people work and forget to take care of themselves, right? Please try and take care of yourself as much as possible. Buy that new clothes, buy that new shoe, buy that new car. You may go to the amusement park or something. Just take a good care of yourself. This life we just have one of it, and live to the fullest, right? Take your children out also. Let them see things, expose them, let them see things. And you can't do that without money. So that's the more reason why you need to invest your time, invest capital in trading good volumes, right? And that's the only way you could actually make good money from this market, right? You're able to trade, because if most of these trades, if you are taking them with good lot size, I can guarantee you'll be making good money from them. So all those little trying to target 100 people with 0.01, those are good trades, right? But in the long run, they might not be as profitable as somebody, and less stressful, right? So the goal is making the money less stress free. So if I'm targeting 2 to 3 pips on a standard lot, I can amass all the money I need, and I don't necessarily need to stay on the chart for too long, right? So just hold that to heart and try and work on your account. Do have a wonderful day, and until we meet again.